Peace and blessings, you all. It is Akiyla McQueen, aka Empress Awakening, the hearts, the minds, and the spirits of all those that I may encounter. That is my life duty, as it is yours.
Peace, family. This is Brother Supreme I coming right back at you with another powerful video where we're going to go into some techniques and how we engage silence. All right, so we're going to be talking about 3 techniques, and ours are both going to be variations of each other. So the first technique would be waking up at what's called the Ambrosia Hour, between 4 to 5 a.m. And in India, this is known as Amrit Vela. Amrit Vela. And it's basically called the Ambrosia Hour because it's a time where pretty much the two worlds meet, the spiritual world and the physical world meet. It's an in-between time. So the earth is pretty inactive, and humanity, people are not really awakened up like that. And it's an excellent time to catch some pranic energy. It's been said that there's an abundance of pranic energy at this time period, so it's very healthy in any type of task that you choose to engage in. And also, people are not awake yet. And thoughts are penetrative, so people haven't even begun to start emitting their own radiation via their thought forms and their feelings. So you are pretty much above the clouds, as it starts. So this is a technique to engage in silence, because what you're going to do is wake up around 4 to 5 a.m. in the morning, and you're going to go outside, and you're just going to find a comfortable place next to a tree perhaps, or somewhere else that's comfortable, and just sit and just observe and pay attention to nature for about 10 minutes. And all you're going to do is just look around you at the foliage, just look at the leaves, look at the flowers, and listen to the symphony of the birds. Now, I know what you're thinking, this isn't necessarily silence, but we translate the word silence into a Sanskrit word, which is maunam. And maunam is an Indian word for silence. But it doesn't just mean verbal silence. It means the quieting of the senses. So it means withdrawal of your senses. So what you're doing by sitting out at the Ambrosia Hour between 4 to 5 a.m., catching all that pranic energy, is you're just going to quiet all your senses. And the only thing you're going to focus on and pay attention to is the scenery. So you're just going to look at the leaves. Mentally, you can say, thank you, trees, and you're just going to just pay attention and look around and listen to the birds chirping, and pay attention to the flowers if you can see them. If not, it will be a good exercise to just stare up at the sky. Not too long, don't strain your eyes, but that's also very good for you, But you're going to have a nice quiet moment where you're just staring at nature around 4 to 5 a.m. And you're going to see how powerful and how tremendous this simple act is throughout your whole day. That's my first technique.
So to add on to that, waking up in the Ambrosia Hour is also a very powerful time to write down your dreams. A lot of times, if you wake up at this time, you'll remember what it is that you were dreaming about. And our dreams are tools that we can use to have visions, to be able to listen to what spirits from other realms are trying to relay to us, help us to identify any underlying emotions that we may be dealing with. It'll also help us to develop our psychic abilities. So by remembering our dreams, writing them down, we get to get a bigger picture of what it is that we need to observe and focus on. So if you wake up at this time, you can get your journal or your diary book or whatever you want to call it and write in it while being absolutely quiet. I found that when I've done this, I was able to remember so much more in my dreams. I was able to put pictures together. I was able to be way more in tune throughout my day as far as symbols are concerned, because I'm now being more focused on the symbols that I'm receiving through my dreams and seeing how they relate into this dimension. And another thing that it also made me more aware of was how much I'm starting to be fed spiritual messages by not talking as soon as I wake up in the morning, by just simply just writing. And like how I spoke about in the Power of Silence video, when you are conducting any type of artistry, which writing is is an art. You can get those space and gaps where you're just going and going and going, and you're not thinking. You just allowing things to just flow. So that's another thing in operating in the art of silence. Silence is to be able to flow in the energy of the spirits. So that would be one to add to the one. So for our second one, it is about music, engaging in music. Now I sing and I play the guitar. So a lot of times I get these moments when I'm in a jam session and the music is just filling the air, just penetrating the walls, and it's like there's no house anymore. We're just on the clouds, and then passing the clouds out into the space by the stars, and we're amongst Neptune and all things like that. And it's like I'm amongst fairies and things and things like that. And when that happens, I stop worrying about how I sound or what thing I want to actually sing, or worrying about if somebody else is going to sing or are we going to blend. All those things come out of my mind. I'm not even in that lower state of mind. I'm just totally operating on spirit and allowing my crown chakra to open up and allowing the cosmos to flow through me, so that whatever I'm playing or whatever I'm singing just flows. And a lot of times if you meet or if you listen to like extremely beastly musicians, they will tell you like they're in a whole nother world when they're coming up with their music. And that's exactly what they're talking about. They're silencing their mind and just allowing things to just flow through them. And that's how you have all these different types of musics that come out, and you're like, whoa, people are like people on this dimension are like, whoa, where did that music even come from? And it literally comes from the cosmos. And these people travel there and bringing back the songs that they hear. So if you are a musician, that's something that you can become more cognizant of when you are making music, just to be in the art of not trying to be so structured or so into theory, and just play or just sing, just let it flow. Don't say oops, don't acknowledge your mistakes, just keep on going. A powerful book that I read is called The Music Lesson, and in there he's a bass guitarist, and he talks about meeting a shaman-like person who taught him about the art of making music. And one of the things he was saying is like, you might make a wrong note, but the note that's right next to it is gonna put you right back in the key. So just keep on going. And it helped him to open up to a whole new world of music, and help him to connect with the earth and the animals and different things like that. So as it relates to music, if you're not somebody who sings or plays, you can just listen to recordings of music. Make it as loud as you can, as long as it's not infringing upon your hearing sensitivities. And just be in it. Allow your mind to just let go and be free, and just be in the music. Allow your mind to just be open. So the music can pour in, and you'll start to see exactly what I'm talking about. It's one of those things that you can't really understand until you put yourself in it. So definitely try that out.
Okay, and my second technique is something I adopted or was given to me by a good friend of mine who taught me about the Japanese wooden flute, the shakuhachi. So the technique is basically called soizen. And what soizen is playing the same note repeatedly for about 15 to 25 minutes. And all you're doing is blowing a note through your flute and listening to the quality of that note, but really your awareness is situated in between the notes. So all I'm doing is playing a note, listening to the gap, and then playing the note again. And what you find is that when you focus on the gap or the pause or the space between it, the quality of your pitch and sound um, gets enhanced, you know. And so we translate this in our life in terms of being in a dark place, being in a crisis, life giving you a pause, or you just having to stop everything, take a second, breathe, allows you to refocus, redirect, and more efficiently project your energy. Um, all coming from just playing a note, a single note on the instrument. So what it would sound like is this. Just for a short session, but essentially it's a technique to expand your awareness of the spaces in between all things. You can have an understanding of the space between the pauses in a conversation that you might have with another person. You can have a greater understanding of the silence or the gaps that occur within you when you're just by yourself. And what these techniques do, just as a side note, is it allows us an individualization of our own psychic atmosphere. So once you're away from people, you don't even have to be physically away from people, but this is more so about living, I would say, like 2/3 within yourself, you know? It allows you to individualize your own psychic atmosphere. You're free from other people's emotional projections. You're free from other people's thoughts, and you get to develop a rhythm of your own and start to truly see yourself. And like the Queen was building on, it allows for a greater psychic sensitivity. Because anytime when you're with yourself in a healthy manner, you get to observe yourself and understand. So that was my second technique, the art of soizen, which is blowing a note, a single note, monotone, but paying attention to the space in between.
And just to add on that, the space in between, the gap, Dr. Layla Africa speaks in his book African Holistic Health, that in African philosophy that we count our heartbeat as 3 beats, rather in European culture they count it as 2 beats. And I think that that's so profound to be able to say that there's 3 beats, because that space mattered. That gap of silence matters. And there's so much like divinity just in knowing that. So I just wanted to add that into that before we got into the third technique. And now onto the third technique.
Okay, so the third technique deals with thought form building. Thought form building, just to give you a segue, is when you specifically create a thought to serve you, because your thoughts are your children. And by law, thoughts feed off of their parents. So this is a thought that's going to come back to you and help you whenever you need it. So we're specifically going to put the intention of silence in the core of this thought. This thought can take the shape or the form of a place, a person, or a thing. Me in particular, I like to create an actual being, and I'm just going to name this being the angel of silence. So you're just going to picture what that being looks like. But most importantly, when you create this being, your intention should be a, 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 a entity, a thought form that anytime you think about it, you think of its name, his name, her name, its name, it's going to serve your memory of the importance of silence. So throughout my day, it could be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I might be doing some gardening work or something, and I just have a random thought of, oh yeah, I forgot I made an angel of silence. I made an angel of silence thought form today. So as soon as I think of that thought form, my angel of silence, she's reminding me that I need to have some quiet time and some silence in my day. You see how that works? So every time I think about it, I start to inhabit a sacred space of calm abiding, just abiding in myself and quieting my mind, quieting my different senses. So that would be my third technique is you're going to consciously create a thought form and you're going to endow it with your consciousness. And the way that's done is give that thought form a name, a shape, a weight, a form, a color, and the intention that you're going to impregnate it with is to constantly remind you of the silence that you need to take throughout your day. And to make it even easier, you can also embed that thought form with the silence of God's oneness. So just stop throughout your day and think of God. Just, all you're doing is just lifting your heart and your mind to God. And your angel of silence is going to serve you doing that.
I think that's a good note to leave off on. I hope that those 3 techniques helps you. Please let us know if you try any of them, if you like any of them, how they helped you or didn't help you, or if you have any other things that you want to add to it. Definitely let us know as well, because we're all here to share knowledge and wisdom together. Like I said in the beginning, it's our universal duty. So we send you lots of love, lots of peace and joy, and we hope that you have a wonderful day. Peace.
Peace.